Hello, from Cork to the world. This is the Song Collector Podcast, brought to you by Roy Buckley Music. Well, Roy, back again. It's been a while because you've been a busy boy.
I've been busy, boy, I have.
You've made your interviewing debut, which is also happening on this episode.
My big break, PJ.
Yeah, I know. Well, put it this way, mate, you'll be an interviewer a long time before I'll be a singer, put it that way, right?
Excellent.
We're talking to the two Daves from the Black Donnellys for today's show. Great chat with them. Also, some new music's been coming in on the email, songcollectorpodcast@gmail.com. Good. Tell me about Sara Ryan, because I'm going to start today with her.
Sara, she's a hard grafter. She's young, she's an up-and-comer, she's really after throwing herself into the songwriting world. And I bumped into her a few weeks ago. We were chatting about the podcast and stuff, and I said, give me one of your new songs. I'd love to give you a feature. And she did. A few days later, I got the email from her, and I think we should give one of them a spin, a song called Clear Skies.
Where's she from?
She's from, actually, Christy Moore's hometown. She's from Newbridge, County Kildare.
And this song is called?
Clear Skies.
Be sleeping. I think once I told you about it. Don't know if you heard, cause I was shouting, I overdid it. I can't quit this. And if I was to run and jump, leaving or escape this rust, would you catch me? Cause I can't see. And I know that's not the time, but I don't think that it's a crime that I'm leaving this windy city. Cause I can't shake this feeling inside me. It's cold and round and it's in a hurry. It grabs hold on my heart and it keeps me in the dark. Pretty colored sky, won't you hold me closely? Oh, when I dream, I wonder, should I ask for more before my slumber? Cause this ain't no high-class living, and I'm not sure just how much I'm willing to know where I'll fit in. And if I fall for living dreams, time that I had made my scheme to drive through this candlelit bliss. And I know that's not the time, but I don't think that it's a crime that I'm leaving this windy city. Oh, I can't shake this feeling inside me. It's cold and round and it's in a hurry. It grabs hold of my heart and it keeps me in the dark. Pretty colored sky, won't you hold me? This feeling inside me. This feeling inside me. This feeling inside me. Inside me. Inside. Little colored sky, won't you hold me?
You're listening to the Song Collector Podcast, brought to you from Cork, Ireland by Roy Buckley Music. there's someone I think we'll be hearing more from, right?
I think so. She's a really sweet voice, and she's a really, really nice girl as well. So
Sara Ryan, Glitter Skies is the song from Kildare.
She's from Kildare, yeah. She's living down this way though. She's living in Cork for a while. She's studying down here, studying music and hanging out with a lot of great people in the music world. A lot of people are on Sarah's side. As I said, she's a really hard grafter.
She can write, listening to that. She really can write. Okay, and will anyone who has a new song, new artist, wants to get in on this, send us a good quality recording, either good quality MP3, but preferably WAV, and email, or you can also, if you need to, we transfer it to us.
I'll tell you now, PJ, it's great that we're getting so much reaction from people and they're sending in their songs and people are looking to be played, and that's really nice. But some people are sending in home recordings and things that, like, the songs sound lovely. Some of them I can't make out the lyrics because it's kind of muffled or buried underneath a kind of a low quality. And I don't mean to be insulting to anybody, but it's just, if it's not to a certain standard, we can't play it because people won't be able to grasp your song, you know.
It needs to be up to a certain standard. So either high grade MP3 or WAV, songcollectorpodcast@gmail.com. You, my boy, have been travelling and gigging in the United States and meeting these the two Daves from the Black Donnellys.
The Gruesome Twosome and all that, yeah.
Tell us first of all about the travelling. You did a 10-date tour with these lads.
Well, actually, it was just with Dave Browne because Dave Rooney was in Ireland shooting this part of this documentary that's being made about the Black Donnellys at the moment. We spoke about them before. I was talking about Sara Ryan being a hard grafter. These guys have been grafting hard for donkey's years. I mean, they've worked with everyone in Ireland. They made the big move of going to America. They're the resident house band in Las Vegas, in Mandalay Bay, in Re-Raw, which is a great Irish venue there. They've broken 3 Guinness World Records, PJ, 3.
And they'll tell you all about it in great detail if you feed them with enough drink.
So what happened with me was when Dave Rooney was at home here in Dublin, they were meeting up with a lot of great guys as part of this documentary that's been made about them. They were followed around on their latest Guinness World Record. They had to beat this record, right, of 50 gigs in 50 states in 50 days. So typical Black Donnellys, they did 64 gigs in 50 states in 35 days. Isn't that nuts?
Beat that, lads.
And they were being followed every step of the way by a camera crew to document every move. So they had the highs and the lows and the ins and outs. And I think that's going to be coming out in 2019. So Dave Rooney was here in Ireland shooting a little bit of that. And while he was here, I flew out to do a tour with Dave Browne. So we did Washington, D.C., and then we went down to Tampa in Florida, and then up to Vegas for a couple, and then I came home in a bundle. So
it's the Browne effect. That's what that is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They've coined the phrase, you've been brownered, you know. But
you made your interviewing debut backstage at Re-Raw with the two boys.
It actually wasn't even backstage at Re-Raw. That was the gig. So we got there. That was the plan. Okay, we'll set up, do the thing. I had to do a little piece for their documentary, and that was the plan, was to do the podcast kind of an hour or so after that. The big gig got so busy that we had to head off. Chad, a great friend of ours who lives in Las Vegas, works for our other friend Daryl Griglio, who has Grand Adventure Tours. They go out to the Grand Canyon and stuff. By the way, PJ, Daryl has been playing our podcasts on the bus for the people heading out to the Grand Canyon, which is deadly. So we flew up to Daryl's offices, and that's where we did it in silence while we could... Daryl didn't even know we were there. He was away on a golfing trip or something.
Oh, so trying to keep these guys restrained to tell a story, one story at a time, is a job, my friend. You did it well. Let's hear from the two Daves from the Black Donnellys, Dave Browne and Dave Rooney, with Roy.
At what point in your life did you decide that music was the thing for you?
When I saw Tin Lizzy live.
When was that?
God, years and years and years ago. It was on the 1940, just before the war. the Crimean War. It was, it was under the Renegade tour, I think it was. And my brother brought me a guitar, played it, And then when I heard the noise of a electric guitar live, and that was it. I want to be in Tin Lizzy. Well, that was it. That was.
So that would be one of your.
Oh yeah, big, even now when I hear any of the guitarists playing, like Brian Robertson or especially Gary Moore and stuff like that. Wow. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, Dave Rooney is also here, so I'm gonna be jumping across quite a bit, asking you questions. Rooney, is the exact same question for you, man. At what point did you think that, hey, music is my life? I don't want to be without this. There's something I want to jump into.
Music hit me when I was about 5 or 6 years of age. I was in the back of my father's taxi, and he was mad into music, and he'd always have something on the radio, and he'd always have the radio on, or be playing tapes and CDs and so on. And I heard Jeff Lynne, ELO, and I think the first song that I remember them playing was Last Train to London. And I don't know what it is about his voice or whatever that I like. I do like his voice and the music and all the rest of it. He sings at a certain frequency that just gets into my soul. I don't know what it is, but that's my first beginnings of appreciation of music. And as I got older, I used to sing along with the stuff. And then I think I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be involved in music. I always tried to pick up a guitar 13, 14, 15, but I could never get my fingers around it. I could never do it, And I think it was until I went away. I was living in Germany, and then I moved to Denmark, and I was working in I'm a late starter. I mean, my first gig I was 26. So I got this Hondo guitar for 30 quid. And I played it and played it and played it. I said, this time I'm going to do it, and with broken fingers and all the rest of it. And after about a year of doing that with this Hondo guitar, which I tell you, my hand, they used to call me Hatcha hands because my hands were in bits. But I think it was from there on, about 23, I decided, okay, this is definitely what I want to do. But I've been singing since I've been about 10,
And were you working in other jobs before that? Before music, obviously at 23,
this is a funny thing. You're not going to believe this. I had 72 jobs. 72 jobs.
Name them all for us, will you?
I could if you wanted me to, but I left school.
The Dublin jack of all trades.
Well, this is the thing. I was 15 when I left school, and I couldn't. Nobody could get a job. Nobody. But I used to go into these places and say.
So what year would this have been?
85.
So during
the Big Depression in Ireland, no one had a penny. Nobody had a pot to piss in. It was unreal. But I was able to talk, let's say, bakers and butchers and to take me on as an apprentice. Right. I'm good for this place. I will work hard. I'll show you that I'm able to do this. I'd convince them. Some of the places I left after 3 days.
Really?
I couldn't do it. Another place I went to, the place burned down. Yeah. So, but that's a bit long-winded, but there you go. That's how I got.
What about you, Dave? Were you working other jobs, or was it just always music for you?
No, I worked everything.
Did you?
Everything, yeah.
What were you
Sold
doing?
shoes, worked in warehouse, drove a forklift, worked in fruit market. I worked in Grafton Street. I bussed all the time, yeah. But I never got a real job. I never wanted a real job. I just wanted money so I could play music.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, some of the listeners would have saw you when you come and play the Songclitter sessions with us, and we love having you, and the people love watching you play. You've got this great energy. But I never asked you before, where did the name the Black Donnellys come from, and who came up with it?
That was my brother Steve. When we were playing with everybody. We were from Terry Woods and Ronnie Drew, George Murphy, and yourself, and a lot of other acts we played with. And we started getting a name for the band. The band were getting great recognition. Everyone loved the sound of the band. And it's like saying, and you know what Ireland is like. They say like, can we hire the band? Which is obviously you don't have to hire the singer. You know what I mean? And we had singers in and stuff like that. So we needed it. Steve was reading a story on the family, the Black Donnellys in Canada, and he said he was kept saying we need a name for the band because we need to book the band out. Like as I always put down, it was like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So we needed that. Mm-hmm. So he was reading. He said this is a great name for the band, the Black Donnellys.
Great name, yeah.
And that was it, and that's why we came over. And then it was Steve Browne, yeah. And then of course we had to read up on what the Black Donnellys and who they were. So people ask you, and it's a fascinating story. And I've been at the Rooney fella to try and write a song about them for ages. So
give us a little bit of that story just for the listeners.
Basically, it's the biggest mass murder in Canada that still has never been solved, but they all know who did it. Okay. It was a family, the Donnelly family, and they came over. There was a heap of brothers. They were just bad. I don't want to use any bad language, but they weren't nice people when they came into the bars and into the towns, and another rival Stagecoach were another rival Irish family, and the town basically had enough of them, and the town got together one night and just massacred the whole lot. But one of them, which is a funny thing, when we were playing, one of the guys, they shot one of them. Well, they thought they shot him, but they shot the cousin, and one of the brothers survived. The son survived, and we were playing a gig. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, in Vegas in the gig in Mandalay Bay. Yeah, and this big fella comes up to us and
He's huge as well.
huge, and he turns out he's a world champion powerlifter. And he goes, "How are you? I'm the grandson of the great grandson of the Donnellys."
The guy that survived. You know what his name was? David Donnelly.
No way.
Yeah, that's right.
There's two of you Daves.
Yeah, and then we had Sparky, who's Davy Hughes,
That's right.
and he was in the band as well. So it was the 3D. Now it's only double D. Yeah. You know, pair of tits. Yeah, no, that was amazing because we got a great photograph of him as well, and he was a very nice dude, wasn't he?
All the family down. Yeah. All generation of Donnellys were down there watching the gig.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, where did you guys meet up? I know that the Black Donnellys was there was a lot of you guys when I first met you in Ireland, and recording with you in Dublin and all that. I mean, you really looked after me when I was young, about 18, 19, coming up to Dublin. But you were hanging out and working with a lot of great other people, ever before the Black Donnellys, but also with the Black Donnellys. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what it was like in those days, gigging around Ireland, trying to make a name for yourself, trying to...
Well, I've been in original bands since forever, like, and then right back to, I was in a band called China Doll, and then I was in a band called The Way It Is, and we had 2 top 20 hit singles in Ireland, and then I was up to Little Sister Sage, and then I got working with Terry Woods from the Pogues, and then he brought in Ronnie Drew, and then we done some stuff with them, and it all snowballed into that. But we've always gigged. I've always gigged from every. I always said like I'd love to tour Ireland properly as a tourist because I've never seen it. I've always been in a van or a car or a bus. Like I was going to say to Dave the other day, he said, "The Kiss more." I've never seen him.
Really?
No. And Shandon, ever seen that? Have you?
I have.
Yeah. It's like asking people have to seen the Book of Kells, you know. But no, but that's it. I haven't seen the place properly because I've always been gigging and always playing. I'm just playing.
You're gigging on your back home.
And we were going around. We would have been touring at the same time as like Aslan, and something happens, and you know, before that when the Blades were doing stuff. So we've been around forever doing.
Yeah, because I know there's a mutual respect from all those guys with you, and you cross paths over the years. I want to bring Dave Rooney back in on this. Dave, can you tell me where yourself and Dave Browne actually hooked up and decided, hey, let's start doing a few gigs together?
Yeah, well, I left Denmark anyway. Went on a. I'll give you just a brief history. Went on I was on a circuit: Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, and I did that for about 2 years. Then moved down.
Behind you as well.
Yeah, actually, that's funny because So I was with another guy, and we were called Shin A. And we were going around, and then I'd see the posters of his band, which I didn't.
And you didn't know each other?
No, not at all. We only found this out later. Little Sister Sage, because I remember seeing the posters, you know. So we were on the same trek, if you like, you know. And then I kind of got tired of Scandinavia and Germany, and I got an offer of a gig down in Mallorca. So I went down there, and then I spent about 3 years there, 4 years there, and then moved down to Lanzarote, Canary Islands, and. So I was playing down there, and I had a couple of gigs down there. I used to play in Charlie's bar, and became the bass player of Charlie's band, Charlie's Hot House Band, and I used to do some solo work then. I had a solo gig beforehand, but they used to come over on holidays, you know, and we met in Cucullins actually. He came over with Brian Grace that time, and we got yapping then, and we couldn't get on, and then a couple of times he was back over again, so. We got him up to play with us and stuff like that. I mean, he ended up playing a wedding with us, you know. And the funny thing is, I drove down there in a high-ace van, right? I bought it and I driven it all the way to Lanzarote, off the coast of Africa, you know.
I arrived at Lanzarote with Gavin Carpenter, banjo player, And we were on a bender. That's all we were doing. We were just drinking, you know. Let's just get away from it because we were gigging all the time. So let's just go on a beer. And we're driving. We're coming in on the bus and looked at seeing the high ice. And he looks at me and it's like, we're definitely going to be into the back of that. We're going to be in the back of that high ice.
It was a 0-1D.
Yeah, 0-1. That's right. Yeah. It's like we're definitely going to. Three days later, man, me and yourself, your man, lying in the back of the van, come to a wedding.
Brilliant. So from gigging around Ireland and not meeting each other until Cool Collins in Lanzarote, to working together. You were recording, Dave. Two of you were you Dave Browne. You had Ashtown Studios in Dublin for a long time.
When I met Dave, I was actually working with George Murphy at the time, and we were trying to collect songs for George's album. And they said, "Oh, write the song," and he sent me, "Believe it or not, This Is My Home," the song.
Really, we'll get to that in a while.
No, but that's like 206 years ago when he gave and he sent me the lyrics of it, and I thought, if this song has any melody in it, this is great. And I heard it and I said, you gotta record this. This is a killer song. And then I got back to, if you had any more songs, did you send me Silver Lining or something?
Yeah, so Tapestry.
Tapestry, right?
Yeah.
And I said, this songs are really good. And I thought, right, good. I'm sending you out way too much time with you. Yeah. And then I heard it and I looked at it and this is great. Let's try and get it onto the George album. We do some stuff for Sony and blah blah blah. And then I was watching them playing and I said to him, are you going to come home? And he says, I'm thinking of coming home. So if you come home, force call, give me a shout and we'll do a gig.
So this friendship blossomed for you boys, and you've been all over the world now, and it's really cool to see this recognition you're getting. So I want to jump from Ireland to America. Here we are sitting in Las Vegas. You're about to go on stage and re-rock, and and
it's packed.
And it's stuffed, yeah. It's good. We just left there to do this. Tell me how it came about for you guys to make the transition from leaving Ireland and all that you've built up at home to taking the chance on, hey, we're going to check out America and see if we can conquer this as well. So I'm putting it to both of you, but let's start with you, Rooney.
Yeah, well, we were coming over here. Dave got a gig over here. The owners of Riva had seen Dave and Claire Pilo, a fabulous singer from Dublin, Ireland, and they come over to do a couple of gigs. The owners seen them play and asked them over. And so they came over and they did a couple of gigs, and that was grand. And then Dave gave me a call. He said, listen, I've got this gig in Vegas. Do you want to go? And I said, who says no to Vegas? You know what I mean? A funny thing, I'd been in Vegas on my honeymoon in 2009, you know. And I never would have thought, I thought it was good. It was nice to see it, a spectacle and all the rest of it. It's a showpiece.
Classic Black Donnellys line, right? Absolutely. He said, it's a nice place. I'd never live there.
Yeah.
That's us, man. Whatever we say, you can, fucking right off.
I spent a week there and then I spent a week in New Orleans, which blew Vegas out of the water for me. You know, people, music, food, the whole thing. Anyways, so we come over and we played a gig, a 2-week stint, and we really liked it and it was great, and they liked us and all the rest of it. So we came back a couple of times, maybe 3 or 4 times after that for 2-week stints. And I remember saying to Dave one day, I says, "Jeez, man, you know what? I'd live here, would you?" And he goes, "Yeah." And we started thinking about it. And then there was a friend of ours that was playing, coming over to America, and he was getting a visa together and all the rest of it. And we could go along on his visa, So we said, okay, let's do that. So and we did. So we came over and we played here for a while. We got the visas and we were able to come over and back. And then we propositioned Rira in Las Vegas that we could be their house band. And they were unsure of it initially because she said, like, oh well, we've got a lot of bands coming in and out of here, and we like the variety that we have. But she says, that said, yous are great with what yous do and we love yous coming over, so let's give it a 3-month trial. So me and Dave come over and did a 3-month trial, which was I'm laughing here because it was crackers. We were on our own, we were away from the families and the wives and all that stuff, and I thought I was a cowboy. I was drinking that much whiskey,
And Bonnie and Clyde's car.
We went for it, and it was incredible. But they came back to us, after the 3 months. She goes, absolutely, Angela Grogan, who's the head of operations. She said, yeah, lads, we definitely love to have you as our house band, So we got the residency, and we moved over here in 2014.
So, Dave Browne, tell me, What did you notice between, we said, how you would perform and the music culture of Ireland and jumping into America and Las Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world? Musically, did you have to change up songs? Did you have to learn new material to kind of transition yourselves into this world?
We constantly change our set. We always, like, because we come from two different backgrounds in music, and Dave's listens to songs all the time, and singers and songwriters and stuff like that. We've kept our own identity and what we do. We do that. We didn't bend in towards the paddy Irish stuff that's out there. We didn't go for that. We didn't do the when Irish eyes are smiling sort of thing. Now we stayed with who we are. And what happened then was we found that the original stuff was getting. I mean, we take some great songs from the likes of Liam Riley, or we take any great singer songwriters that these people wouldn't know, and we played them and said that's great. And I kept saying to Dave, do an original. If they don't know them, do one we've done, and one you've written yourself. And that's how that snowballed. And just we noticed that, like, there's even the song that we put in when we come in and out of the set, and I'm always surprised. I even asked for it down the other night. It was like a song that it's called "Smile for Me," and out of nowhere people ask for it. Do you know what I mean? And that's in with all the other songs. You know what I mean? So we kept noticing. Okay, let's push this then, and we did. We rolled into it. We didn't change as much. We still play the way we play. We don't have to be doing 2 or 3 gigs a day. We do 1 gig, which is at the residency. So it helps us doing that. The lifestyle is better. The opportunities here for a musician, if you're willing to work. I mean, there's an awful lot of bullshit as well that goes with it. But if you're willing to work, and we're out, there's an awful lot of stuff that can happen for you once you put the. If you put 100% effort in over here, you'll get something back. You put 100% effort in Ireland. I'm not going to knock the whole thing, but anyone that's listening to this is a musician will know exactly what I'm talking about.
And Dave, Rooney, would you echo that?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming over, I mean, it's a huge. I think it's a huge. You would think it would be very, very simple, and the change would be easy. It is a huge culture shock where we both speak the same language, but my God, we're different in our ways. And our thinking and our terminologies, and it's amazing because I've lived in different countries in Europe with different language barriers and different cultures and stuff like that. But I found it easier. I found moving to America was a bigger jump. I suppose a bigger risk as well because I've 4 kids and they're putting them into schools and all the rest. But it's a big and taking them out of schools and and bringing them to America. So
it's a big decision to make.
Very, very much so. And so that for me was was one side of it that was a bit daunting. And that said, what Dave is saying regarding the original songs and stuff, yeah, absolutely. It's a great feeling to come over and play in a commercial place where you can play the songs that you've written. People will respond to them and keep coming back and asking for them and stuff like that. And that's been great. And through that, we sell a lot of our CDs. So there's a lot of music on out there, So it's great. It's fantastic.
That's brilliant, lads. Now, this is what I wanted to get to as well. Now that the listeners know your background and coming from Ireland and everything that you've achieved, getting to America, you have to tell me about 3 Guinness World Records you're after breaking. I'll start with you, Dave Browne, because you did the first one in Temple Bar. Will you tell us a bit about that? 3 Guinness World Records is a massive achievement. I don't know any other person in the world. Doing one is a huge achievement.
Yeah, one is
having 3.
As we explained at the start, they're called a world record because they are a world record. They're not very common. The first one I did was in 2011 in Temple Bar. I broke the world record for the world's longest marathon guitar playing, which is constant guitar playing. And I did it for 114 hours plus. Broke the previous world record, which was actually the previous world record was 100, and then when I got to 98, they informed me that some guy in India had done 112.
Jesus!
So I had to go back on and do another. So I did 114 hours, broke it. Still have it today. There was a rumor that someone broke it, but it hasn't come true. But it doesn't make any difference. I broke it. It was mine.
It's part of history.
I have it. Yeah. So we did that one.
I see there's a plaque in Temple Bar.
Yeah, above the stage, it's still there. My name is in lights. Great.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's still there, and it's great. It was great to do. But the big thing about it was the the publicity that we got out of it, and the
What do you mean? What publicity
well,
did you get from
I'll put it to you this way: we were doing a gig in Norway. I don't know what we were doing. We were out with someone, and myself and Dave, or we stayed over doing something. I said I rang there was an Irish bar in some other town. I said, you know what, we're here. Let's do a gig here. So I rang the bar and I said, how are you? I'm blah blah blah. So how are you? Doesn't make any difference. I'm Dave Browne, and the guy said, you're the guy who broke the world record. I said, yeah. I said, yeah, we'd love to have you here. So that is, I'll put it. That's what it worked for us for. So did that publicity wise. It was great. Done the trick. Helped me with my visa stuff, and then we got to Vegas, and then I had an idea. So we said to Dave, to just not be another band on the strip.
I know where this is going, because that second world record nearly fucking killed me. It nearly killed every. There was bands came from Ireland. There was I remember Liam Riley came over. We actually did 2 song collector sessions.
Yeah.
And that was actually the first time that we did a international song collector session. So I must thank you for that. But
we put that together. Myself and Dave, we put all that together, along with obviously Re-Rap people.
Yeah.
But we timed the bands, we did all the stuff and everything, and played the gig.
yeah, because a lot of the listeners here won't understand unless you explain to them that there was a lot of rules on like you're the background team who things like you couldn't repeat the same song.
It's the same. You can't repeat the same song within 4 hours. You have to have 25 seconds between songs. Because we had bands this time, you had a 5-minute changeover for bands. And if you left the stage, you couldn't go back on the stage.
Right,
you know, you couldn't jump back up with a band and do all that. So it was a heap load of. So you had people looking at this all the time, and it was 24 hours a day for how long, Dave?
15 days and 10 hours, 372 hours.
That's crazy.
I was violently ill after it. I
Dave
barely,
Browne broke you, did he?
I barely made it home in the car. I was ill. I had to crawl. I got to the door. Something really weird thing came over me. You know, it was weird.
What do you put that down to?
Fatigue, definitely.
So of the 372 hours, how much do you think you spent on stage?
190, I think.
Jesus.
And that would have been singing like as well. So it was. I mean, Jay, we had a lot of help. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but
We were all coming up. We were proud to do this with you guys, you know. We had a great time here, but anyway, this is about you. But you should know that all of us who came over to be part of it knew it was yours, and we were proud to do it with you, man. And we would do it all again with you. Tell us, Rooney, anyway, a bit more about the second world record.
Yeah, so I just thought Dave was mad when he mentioned it. Like, I was going to go, oh, here we go again, Jesus. And but no, I mean, the people that we have, like, I mean, obviously the people in Re-Rad, they really got behind us. And then we had a couple of friends as well that were involved that helped us.
Who were they?
Daryl Gariglio and Chad George. Daryl runs Grand Adventures in grandadventures.com in Las Vegas.
They go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, they run the tours. Great guy. He's like the patron saint of Las Vegas.
He's a great pal of mine as well, and he told me that he's been playing these podcasts to people on the buses, so we should give a big shout out to Daryl.
Oh, Daryl.
You know, actually we're sitting right here in Daryl's office at Grand Adventures.
And Daryl doesn't know we're here. Did you already? Fair enough.
Free van.
But
Taking the cookies.
Incredible. We had these great people around us as well, and you know, sometimes the stars align, because it's not easy to keep these world records together. You know, piecing them together and stuff like that.
It's an awful lot of organising.
It is, and at any minute it can go absolutely. It can collapse on you, you know.
Yeah.
And then even after the fact, you have to go and you have to have the right people to do the administrative duties of piecing it all together, threading it all together, buttoning it up, like, you know. And
People don't realise that.
no, it's
huge.
insane.
It's a huge undertaking. It's huge. I mean, there's a cast of thousands involved in it. You know, it really is, and everyone got behind it. I said at the start, when you get involved in a world record, there's something that happens that everyone comes together and everyone's on their A game. Like, even when I did the one in 2011, all the musicians in Temple Bar, they played like they
there was actually a lot of great Irish stars who joined you in 2011 and in 2014, October 2014.
Yeah, that's right,
yeah, I remember, because I nearly died on this tour.
No, it was great. I mean, we got back up from everybody from like Dave Browne from Picture House, the guys from Blink, Nick Kelly, There was a whole heap of people that were involved in that. The last one, the commitments and stuff like that. People we grew up with, you know, who we all played like, who we've known in different ways. We've not both known them, you know. And then when we got here, even all the people from the strip here, because everyone comes to the pub and they get to know us, and we've made a lot of friends here. And then like the support that we had, and then what happened then with that was, like MTV took it up, and then the news agency took it up. Dave has all the facts and figures on that.
I remember because it was on Irish TV. The news were covering it back in Ireland as well. You know, it was cool to see that.
We had 237 million segments of information that went out there. Wow. We had 90 TV shows. We had 200 news agencies, news press, and all of the associated press with that as well, which accumulated to $11.1 million of PR.
Wow.
So it was massive.
This country is huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah,
like it's huge.
Which actually brings me to the next topic. So back in 2011, Dave Browne, you smashed a Guinness World Record for marathon guitar playing. Fast forward just a couple of years to 2014, you two boys have emigrated now to the United States, living and working in Las Vegas, Nevada, rocking it out, creating this huge vibe that only you can do. To this year, I want to talk about this one.
We don't talk about it.
So
we have a friend of ours here who can't. You think he's going to run through the wall?
So right now, our friend Chad is sitting here. He's been very quiet in the corner, but he's taking it on and he's a big grin on his face. But Chad was the driver on that. So I want to tell the listeners. So
You're talking about getting back from a war, isn't it?
oh yeah. So you've got 2 world records under your belt, and all of a sudden this new idea comes up for a 3rd Guinness World Record that you've just completed in 2018. How did that come about? Who came up with the idea? And why?
I can't take the blame for that one, that's for sure.
There's a couple of reasons. One,
who came up with it?
I came up with the idea, but I was that wasn't the first.
For punishment.
There's about 30 ideas I hate hearing beforehand. Like there's a lot
I started to I ignore Dave now, and I can tell you this: I'll be ignoring them even more in the future.
So
it was, I just a lot of things. We do well. We're doing great in Vegas and all that sort of stuff. And I was thinking, this country's so big, but we have to do it. I remember we were flying up to do a gig in Carmel, and I was watching the story of James Browne. And he's saying he's the hardest working musician, you know. He's done 300 and something gigs a year, and it's absolutely a third of what we do, you know. So but what I was looking at, he hear all the states like they used to do in the old days. Hear all the play in a bus, you know. They used to get the backing band and then all go around. I think we have to do something like that. And then I was talking to a guy, an old man. He was saying, "Oh yeah, my son's going. He's going to see he's got 2 more states to do, and then he's seen all 50 states." I said, "That's what we'll do." And then I got off the stage, ran into the kitchen area, and I checked. I said, like, 50 gigs, 50 states in 50 days.
So the record at the time,
yeah,
before you decided to shatter it, was 50 gigs in 50 states of America in 50 days.
Yeah.
And go on, sorry, you tell this.
That was it. So I came out to your man and said, I have a great idea. This is a killer. And I said, we can do this. And
so this is mid-gig?
Yeah, mid-gig, yeah.
I probably said I'm going home.
He did, yeah. So he wouldn't talk to me on the way home in the van. So in his car, it's like, but that was it. And I was thinking, this is how we can hit all 50 states, especially now with being social media, because you can hit everything, which works great for us. To use that as a tool to work with you for publicity wise, and that was it. That was exactly. This is how we can really put the name around the place. You know, fast, microwave it. You know, rather than having to spend 5-10 years trying to do America, like just let's see what we can get out of this. You know.
So you put this show together.
Well, we put the show together, but there was something. I'll go back very quickly. There's something back to the songs. We were playing this song, "This Is My Home."
Yeah, because it was called the "This Is My Home" tour.
I said this song needs to be a hit, right? And I was thinking, how do we do this? So this is the idea: get it out there to as many people as possible. But the song took on a new life of its own when we play it, doesn't it? People react differently to it, and they react the same to the song, and it kept getting us all the time that the song was becoming bigger than us.
Do you mean people were taking different meaning from the song every time they heard it, or what?
No, they're taking the same meaning, but different people, different.
They're just saying that it was touching them. Okay, it's written from the perspective.
Yeah, no, this is a song of yours, Dave Rooney.
Yes. So I wrote this back in 1997 on the roof of the place where I was living in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and I think it was the third song I've ever wrote, because I got just about play the guitar at that stage. But what Dave's talking about is that when we decided to use it for the tour, we'd already played in about maybe 5, 6, 7 states, and what we were always surprised at was that people were compelled to come up and tell us how they were Irish or third part Irish or a certain percentage Irish or
heritage,
and and first, second, third generation Irish. And we thought that's great. Like, there's so many people here that are always talking about home, fondly talking about home, wanting to go back and wanting to search their roots and find out exactly where they came from. And so it was a no-brainer then to use it at that. So that's why we use it. That's why we use the song.
You know what? We've been chatting for a while, and you've got 2 guitars with you. Would you give us a verse and the chorus of that song?
Yeah. Okay. Give us your cap there. Yeah.
So, just while Dave is sitting up here, did you ever think that when you wrote that song back in 2000 and what year was it?
1997.
1997.
It's 21 years old this year. And
you've put it out now, and it's gone on a storm.
Yeah, it's been one of them things. I released the album in 2009 in Ireland, and it's been received really well, and that was grand.
Yeah, because back in 2012, didn't you get awarded Songwriter of the Year?
Yeah, through that song actually there's an Irish radio station in New York, run by a veteran DJ called Sean McCarthy, and he loved it. He loved it, and he put it up for the competition, for the award, and I won best Irish singer songwriter of the year, 2012.
That's magic.
And that was like that was just like, oh.
So
my
here
God.
you are. So in 2012, you're after winning this best singer songwriter of the year. You've got a Guinness World Record under your belt, and you're about to. Well, you probably didn't even know at the time that you were going to undertake this thing of going to America.
No. And funny, here's another thing for you. the last day of the tour, I got approved for the green card.
That's mad.
On the last day.
So the American dream is kind of starting to.
Yeah, it's starting to come true and stuff like that. And obviously I was really emotional and stuff like that. It was great.
Of course, man. Yeah.
But it's great. But what we've done now with the song is we've dedicated to all the people that have come over during the famine, come over, all these lost descendants who have come over, who beat typhoid, tuberculosis on a filthy boat, 6 weeks at sea. They land in America, where they're not welcome, contrary to popular belief. It just made us feel very, very proud, and how resilient that the Irish people were, the influence that they had on the financial sectors and the public service sectors, i.e. the police and the fire department.
Isn't it crazy that New York would have been a massive spot? You've got Annie Moore stepping off the boat with the first immigrant to come through Ellis Island, and here you are, 2012, getting Best Singer Songwriter of the Year in this place for this very song. Yes, kind of cool, isn't it?
It's very cool. It's very cool.
Do you want to give us a piece of the song, lads?
Yeah. Somewhere in here, my heart holds the time for those passing years, in all of its glory and all my fears, finding no ending and no frontier. Letters and cards from those who I've missed, and right from the start, the ones who I've kissed and broke their hearts. Look at me now when I've walked right back to the place in my heart in my heart. But this is my home, and I've been away for far too long from my home. Coming back now, the bad feeling's gone from my home, where the love is in my home again. This is my home, and I've been away for far too long from my home. Coming back now, the bad feeling's gone from my home, where the love is in my home again. Here I'll stay for the rest of my days, 'cause this is my home. Oh, lads, deadly. I know it's a shortened version of the song, but thanks for sharing that with us. I mean, so tell us, what's next for the... I know you were followed around. Chad here drove you around. Mm-hmm. So tell us about, it was the record you were trying to beat was 50 gigs in 50 states in 50 days.
Yep. And
what was the result?
We did 60. We did actually 64 gigs, but 60 were within the rules. So we done 60 gigs in 50 states in 35 days.
Holy God!
Mm-hmm. We've seen every part. Well, no, we've seen every part of America, but
we've been to every part.
We've been to every part of America. I was like, I was drunk and hungover in every state in America.
He never tied his laces once.
And I tied me 3 times. I think I tied my laces.
So tell us, traveling around. I mean, America is so much bigger than Ireland. I mean, states in America are 5 times, 7 times, 8 times the size of our country of Ireland. So that's like essentially driving into so many different countries and all that.
Exactly.
So, I mean, like, what about the cultural differences if you're passing through different parts? Is there any stories that jump out for you?
Well, there's loads, but there's
any places that jump out. I mean, like,
there's lots of places. The cities are different. Like you got Chicago and New York and Boston. They're cities, but it's the other places where like. We went to this
Birmingham, Alabama.
What a town!
Yeah, we played in an Irish place there called Brennan's Irish Pub, and they were cool folk down there. Man. The place was mental. I mean, we were in a big storm heading down there. Actually, you remember that?
It's on the movie there.
Yeah,
that's right. I was through Alabama.
I gotta talk about that next.
But Birmingham, Alabama was great, and Idaho Falls was. We played in a biker bar. It was a roadhouse bar. And everything happened. There was a chick fight. There was at a snooker table. We kept playing. We just keep playing.
Some old man wanted to kiss me. Fell in love with me, and which reminds me, I'm never going back to Idaho Falls.
Yeah. That was cool. And we did the karaoke there. Remember?
And there's a lot of bikers in when we were walking in with the cameras and the film crew, and they all jumped on, put on their coats and their jackets, jumped onto their Harleys, gave us the finger as they were driving away. Yeah.
Bailed, yeah. So we got that. We've a couple of good stories.
I just want to interrupt for 1 second because the listeners now are just after hearing movie and film crew. So can you elaborate on that and tell the listeners what was happening? There was a film crew, I understand, were following you around on this crazy world record because there's a movie documentary being made about the two of you guys.
Yeah.
So do you want to elaborate on that a little bit, Dave Rooney?
Yeah. Well, we have Frequency Pictures. They're an outfit out of LA with director Carl Nicoli. They came on board and they documented every whim that happened along the way, which is fantastic. Covered all the stuff that we were doing. I'm just back from Ireland. Only yesterday, I was over there filming for a week to go back to our roots, to where we were from, and our Temple Bar gigs where we started off, and we talked to a few of our peers, people in the music industry, and this is fantastic. So it's going to be hitting all of the major film festivals in the States and outside, and we're very, very excited about it. And there's a lot of fun involved, a lot of stuff happening. It has a lot of personality, and I think people are gonna dig it.
So, Dave Browne, RVs, motels, hotels, mishaps, all sorts of challenges on this trip that you did around America. Can you elaborate on how that was, living on the road? Was there many challenges or
Every day was a challenge.
So
Every day was a challenge. Every day, because
And did I hear a rumor that Netflix are going to be?
well, we're shopping it. That's what we're looking for. There's some great talk about what's going to happen with it. But there's all the stuff that anyone that's been on the road, anyone who's driven or been in a band, anyone who's listening to this knows the road has its own stories. No matter how much you plan for anything, the road will do what it wants to you. And that's what I mean. This is what you don't see on The Voice or Nobody's Got Talent. This is the real deal. And they can't teach you this in rock schools or any of that stuff. It's being on the road that has its own vibe. From our pal here breaking his, is your little toe or your big toe?
It's my pinky toe.
I tell everyone it's your big toe. Just make the story bigger.
So Chad broke his leg on the and then drove. Actually, that was
In a boot, yeah.
in a boot. Yeah. So
Chasing down an Uber driver.
yeah.
How do you drive in the boot?
So we there was that. There was some really funny drunken nights. There was
sleeping every night. Were you
we
sleeping on
sleep-
the bus every night?
we slept most on the bus, and some odd man. What was the worst? In Atlantic City, the motel there. Oh man, it was. It's like I'd say what prison is like.
It was like the back stairs in Carlito's Way.
Why?
Hey, yo, Benny.
Noisy, horrible, and dank. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, women were running around topless, which is not a bad thing, but
The odd gunshot as well, you know.
Yeah, but
So
Jesus, lads, it sounded like he hated it. Was there any good parts to this trip?
that was great. That was a great part. Yeah. So we played on it. We played at 6:30 in the morning on a flight from
I actually saw that clip.
to where was that going to?
Alaska.
Alaska.
to Anchorage.
Anchorage. Yeah.
So you got on a plane.
At 6:30 in the morning, I sat down at the window seat, fell asleep, to be woken up saying, "You're going to be singing to all these people." To be singing.
They're heading them. It's like what? What? Yeah, one time he was at home in his bed. He's had his hand down his trousers and
Yeah,
You woke up to be told you got to sing to all these.
yeah, and so we were singing. Next thing I know, I'm strutting up the aisle, clapping my hands. Still haven't found what I'm looking for. Singing a U2 song, you know. And the people looking at us like out of one eye, kind of going, "Who are these assholes?" You know. So that was
funny.
Lads, there's another thing I wanted to mention. I mean, we'll come back to the world record, but I should have said this earlier. So you were approached by UFC to write a song for Conor McGregor, which you did, and it was used as the promotional track for his fight against Diaz, Nate Diaz. Can you tell us a bit how that came about? And
Absolute hustled it. We hustled it.
definitely. We had an idea. So we seen all the Irish fans coming over when McGregor was coming up, you know, and 15,000 or 20,000 Irish fans. So a sea of Korean would descend on Las Vegas Boulevard. And we had the idea, we said, you know what, why don't we write a song for Conor McGregor? We'll send it down to him, he'll love it, he'll come out fighting to it. What could go wrong, right? So we went and we recorded the song and sent it down.
It got an awful lot of press.
It did, it got a good bit. We sent it down anyway and we heard nothing back, you know, and we were kind of thinking, like, what's the story here, you know? So we heard nothing and we were getting a bit disillusioned by it, and then...
Because I heard a rumour that Dana White loved it.
Yeah, I did, yeah. Dana White liked it, and the story to that is we got an invite to a restaurant where McGregor's family was going to be before the Diaz fight. So me and Dave head down there anyway, and we get to we've been 5 minutes left. We get to into the restaurant, and we meet McGregor's father, and we meet his mother, and his sister was there. And so we get to meet Audie, McGregor's manager. We said, "Audie, how you doing? What's the, did you get the song and all the rest?" We didn't hear that back. "Oh yeah, we got the song, yeah." And I says, and he says, "Yeah, Conor's very, very flattered that you wrote the song about him. But Conor's a hip hop guy," he says, you know. And he says, "Why, he's a hip hop guy?" I said, "Oh, is that right? Keep me that back." So we took the CD back out and we sent it to a friend of ours in New York, a friend of Dave's, called Howie Benno, who was with the band Ministry. And he's a DJ, and he remixed it to a dance track and sent it back to us, and then we sent it back down, and we waited again and still heard nothing back. So we could have gone, well, this was a waste of time. Until one day, about 2 or 3 days later, Gary Cook,
Manchester City.
yeah, Manchester City, who became the UFC global marketing manager.
All right.
So we knew that Oasis had a patron saint of Manchester City, so we started playing all the Oasis songs, right? And he was looking up and giving us the thumbs up, and we were saying, send him over a Guinness there.
Get him some beer. Get him drunk. Quickly.
Get him a point.
Yeah.
But we made a video as well for the song, and we sent it. We showed it to him, and he said, "Lads, I really like this. We're going to do something with this, you know."
Yeah, because it got huge hits on YouTube and everywhere else.
Yeah.
You put it out, you know.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, they gave us a big wad of cash, and it was the build up to the advertisement for all for the UFC 202. Versus Diaz, the return fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, we were delighted with that, and they put it out on all the social media and all of their bits and pieces of their marketing stands, and it got us some serious exposure.
Yeah.
Newspapers far and wide, on the news, everywhere. It was fantastic.
And just for the listeners, this all happened before this third Guinness World Record that you
Yeah.
did, which is great. Lads, I'm after taking up enough of your time, but because our buddy PJ Coogan isn't here, I'm going to finish out with PJ's bookend question. Thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat with me. I know you're heading out to do a gig right now. So, PJ always says, in everything that you're after doing, from starting out in Dublin to breaking your first Guinness World Record, Dave Browne, to emigrating to America, you, Rooney, bringing over your family and everything, putting the kids into school, like a huge jump to breaking another Guinness World Record in 2014 for longest concert. I mean, you factor that in, UFC taking one of your songs for official promo just after breaking your newest world record, 60-50-40, which was actually 64, 50-34. I mean, that's amazing, and we're all proud of you for doing that, man. All of your friends like me in the music game, I know everyone back home is the same. So between all of that and everything you've done, this documentary movie being made about you and everything, I want to put this to you. This is PJ's finishing question. Taking all that into consideration, everything you've done, everything you've achieved, is there one thing, one person, one place, one time, one anything that made all of this worthwhile? The thing that you'd say, I would do it all again just for that. I'll ask you first, Dave Rooney.
That's a very good question, PJ. Thanks very much for putting me right on the spot. The feeling of accomplishment, sitting in Cat's Diner in New York City, when I got the phone call that you got your green card, particularly when we were highlighting immigration in America, that really put the cherry on the cake for me. And for that feeling alone, I would do it all again. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Browner, same question to you, Dave Browne.
I don't know. I think being able to play guitar and play in America and going to places, and I've a couple of idols of guitar players, and a guy came up to me, and I think it was in Jacksonville, and he says, I've seen all the greats playing, I've seen everybody, and I've seen a guy, one of my heroes, a guy called Jerry Reed, and I never said anything, and he said I've seen Jerry Reed playing, he says, and you can beat him. And that to me killed me.
Okay, PJ made sure.
I can't beat Jerry Reid, so that was just someone else's opinion.
PJ, when I was coming over, I told you I was going to do this. He said, make sure you get the boys to play his tune and make sure Dave Browne goes supersonic on his guitar like nobody else can. To finish us out, would you do one of your tunes?
Get your cap on, huh?
That's the finish.
Browne, Dave Rooney of the Black Donnellys. I wish you continued success in this great career you've got going on. Thanks for taking the time to have a chat with me.
You're listening to the Song Collector podcast, brought to you from Cork, Ireland, by Roy Buckley Music. I've been wanting you to get Dave Browne recorded playing that guitar for a while, and that's brilliant. Like, the guy can do that for hours on end.
He's the only musician I know who has to put his guitar into a fridge when he's finished with it.
And God knows what he does with his hands afterwards.
Oh
Ice bath or
God,
something.
man.
Great playing from Dave Browne.
You see that in the cartoons when someone starts running fast and their legs just turn into a ball. That's what his fingers look like when he's playing guitar.
Great chat with the boys, and I can't wait to see this documentary. It looks like good crack. It looks like mayhem, actually. Now, we've been getting music as well on the email from good, established, old friend of ours, and I wasn't surprised at all to see Hank Wedel dropping some tunes into us.
Big time. Well, look, what we're trying to do is we're not really prejudiced here, or we're not really being selective. Everybody who sends us stuff, we're listening to it. We're trying to give up-and-comers a go, like Sarah, as we mentioned, and also established guys and legends and stuff. So whoever's got something going on, if it's a song that's new or very old that we haven't come across or whatever, bang them in.
Or a version of a classic.
Or something
something you wrote that someone else took up,
you know
which is
me.
this with Hank.
Well,
he wrote this, didn't he?
This next one, yeah, that's right. Hank sent us in a couple of songs, and I always had a graw for a song that he wrote called Listen. It was recorded by Christy Moore, and I mean, Hank has been writing great songs for years, as you know, and I think it was a real kind of nod to Hank when Christy Moore recorded his song Listen and called the album Listen.
Yeah.
After that, that was the title track, mega. And Hank is a really great guy. We play some gigs together throughout the year, and he's every time you come away from a gig with Hank, you're after learning something.
Yeah,
you catch him on a Monday night with Ray Barron over in Charlie's. The longest.
That's running since before I was born.
I'm sure. I'm sure Moses kicked it off. It's with the boys.
But there's something fresh every time.
They experiment with music. It's lovely. They put in a couple of guests over there on a Monday night. But no matter where you catch Hank solo or with these other great musicians he's been playing with for years, you always learn something. It could be his own songs. He might go down the road of Bob Dylan, Neil Young, the Beatles, whatever you look for. I've seen the boys playing Irish traditional music, Jewish music, anything. Like, these boys will come.
He has a real interest in world music, has Hank.
Big time.
He
lives
does.
and breathes it, and he's a wealth of knowledge about it, which he's willing to share with whoever wants to. He just loves talking music, you know.
Well,
Great
let's
guy.
just share
Give him a spin,
what he can do with our listeners. This is the song he wrote, which Christy Moore took up to make not just a track on an album, but the title track. This is
I think I could be wrong on this, but I think Hank said something before about being. I think he was caught somewhere. He was snowed up somewhere when he wrote that song.
Okay, we'll have a listen. To listen.
Listen to the whisper of moon moonlight on the water. Close your eyes and listen. Listen to the singing of a feather on the breeze. Close your eyes and listen. Listen. Listen to the harmony of heartbeats in unison. Close your eyes and listen. Listen to the rhythm of souls dancing round the stars. Close your eyes and listen. 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 Listen to the chiming of the bells. Listen. Listen to the flutter of angels' wings on high. Listen to the rapping and the clapping and the buzzing. Listen to the snowfall gently on the mining town. Close your eyes and listen. Close your eyes and listen. Light on the water. Listen to the singing of a feather on the breeze. Listen to the prayers of children to their blessed mother. Listen to the pleading of the faithful to their father. Father. Father, Father.
All right, that's good. That's good. Oh, that's class. And actually, when I heard Christy singing it, my bad, I didn't realise it was Hank's song.
Really?
No, I didn't know. I heard Christy perform the song, and I didn't realise it was Hank's song. Beautiful tune. Right, Roy. Something else you've been doing, as well as traipsing around the States, you've been working again with the Lord and Master himself, Mr. Coulter.
Oh, Phil Coulter, yeah, oh man, I can never say enough about that guy. He's been really great to me over the last few years. He was down here in Cork for the... he was doing the Today Show with Maura and Dottie over on the Quay there in the studio, RTE studio. So he called me up and I went over and we hung out that day, did his thing, absolute pro. And he was in the Opera House the following week. I'd never seen him with the string section.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just unbelievable. And his wife, Geraldine Brannigan, an absolute sweetheart as well. She comes out and does a few songs. So I was with him there. And then just last Sunday night, I was with him down in the Grain Store in Ballymaloe.
Which is a gorgeous venue.
Lovely room, yeah. So we had a great night down there. Yeah, getting to work with Phil is always great, and I always learn something from him as well. He's always pointing in the right direction about something.
And of course, if anybody wants to listen to him telling some of his stories, they're on our episode 3. We've got an episode
that's
with
right,
him,
the last one, yeah.
People can download and listen back. Right, that's about as much as we've got time for this time out. Next day, it's John Spillane, and he brought his guitar, which is good. And we've also got Finbar Fury coming up as well in a future episode. Plus the new music, keep it coming in. songcollectorpodcast@gmail.com. Keep an eye on the quality. Let us know a little bit about the song. Send it to us, and you could turn up on the next episode.
Right. Oh yeah, PJ, before we go away, man, congratulations on your win. Broadcaster of the Year by Imro.
Thank you,
well
sir.
Deserved, brother.
Thank you
well
very
deserved.
much. Thank you very much. Share this link on all your social media, and we'll talk to you next time.
See ya. Bye-bye, folks.
Thank you for listening to the Song Collector Podcast, brought to you by Roy Buckley Music. Now please share the link with your friends.